the betting brand for soccer fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
Well, is it Lionel Messi's time, or does the trophy belong to his heir apparent, Kylian Mbappe? Let's find out. Welcome to Fox Sports Lab FIFA World Cup. I'm your host, Robbie Slater, and with me is Juras again for the last time. How are you, mate?
I'm very good. It's sad
you need to sleep?
Yeah, it's sad that it's all coming to an end, Robbie.
Exactly, but we've got this to get through. Coming up, our deep dive on the final between Argentina and France. We discuss the playoff for third between Croatia and Morocco, and a look back on the highlights of the past 4 weeks.
Well, after 62 matches at this incredible tournament, we are down to 2. Many are saying this is Messi's World Cup, but the French will have plenty to say about that. Robbie, which side has impressed you the most leading into this grand final?
Well, look, I think, if I was biased, because I've tipped France, I would say France, but I'd have to say, given the semi-finals, the way they went, I think not Croatia, of course, Argentina, with Messi in superb form. He is currently the player of the tournament. It's his to lose. He's equal with Mbappe for the most goals scored, of course, on 5. Giroud's there on 4. And Alvarez is there on 4. So there's a lot of games within this game. And going on that note, if you look at Argentina, they've scored the first goal in every game. But what do you think both teams do? Is it all-out attack, or is it a cagey start?
Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit cagey, to be honest. I don't think they're going to go all-out attack and open themselves up too early. I think it's too much of a important game, but I think this game is going to be won or lost with the two superstars, with Messi or Mbappe, who can be the most influential. Messi has been instrumental in every single game that Argentina has played. Mbappe has been instrumental as well, but you saw over the last couple of games he hasn't scored, but yet France have still found ways to win. So, I think, in your opinion, the hype around Messi and Mbappe, who do you think will be
what I love is,
influential?
Straight away, I love the hype.
Yeah.
The Messi, and you love when there's hype before a tournament, Juras, and it's actually delivered, and both these players have delivered. You're right, in the last couple of games, Mbappe has been quieter, although he still makes the goal, although it's a deflection. He makes the action and makes the goal for France's second. But if you look at who's going to stick out in this game, I would say that we don't know.
Yeah.
I think Mbappe's due a big game. We know what he did in the World Cup final 4 years ago, and Messi in every game has been superb. If we look away from the two star players and we look at the two other goal scorers that I mentioned, sitting on 4 goals, so that one of these has a great game, they could end up with the golden boot. You've got Alvarez for Argentina, and you've got Giroud. Can they get on the score sheet, and what does that depend upon? Yeah,
look, I think Alvarez in that last game against Croatia was sensational. The energy that he brings and that goal that he scored, he got lucky with a few deflections, but he's such an electric player, and he's complemented Messi really well. If Messi hasn't scored, he's looked to find him, and he's been great. And Giroud has been there as well. Like you said, he's on 4 goals as well. He's an opportunity to take the golden boot out. So he's been great. He's scored some great goals from crosses coming in, which is his strength. That 6-yard box is where he operates. And I think, do you think this game will be won in the 90? Do you think it's going to go overtime, penalties? What's your prediction, Robbie?
I think this goes into extra time. I've got that feeling. I'm not sure if it'll go all the way to penalties, but when you look at the two sides, the matchups, the history as well, of course, in 2018, this was I think it was the round of 16, or was it the quarter? One of them, but it was the game of the tournament. 4-3, France beat Argentina that particular time. So I think we're in for a long final, which is good by me. If you look at the pressure, of course, France won it 4 years ago. Argentina haven't won it for 36 years. We know Messi was in the final in 2014 in Brazil, losing out to Goetz's goal to Germany, 1-0. Who's under more pressure?
Yeah, I think Argentina, to be honest. France, like you mentioned, have already won it in the last one, so they're the reigning holders. Of course, they'll want to win it again, and there will be pressure, obviously, from everybody in France to win it. But I think Argentina will be under the most pressure. I think the players around Messi realise the importance of this. This is Messi's last opportunity to lift the trophy, to lift the World Cup that he's been chasing for so long. And I think the players around him will feel that. I think they will feel that they have a big responsibility to perform and make sure that they support him and give him the win that he wants. So I'm going to say Argentina will probably feel the pressure.
Well, of course we know you're in it for Argentina, so of course they are under the most pressure. But okay, so I know you want Argentina to win, but okay, if we look at it and put the spotlight on it, where is the match won and lost?
Yeah, look, I think the team that can nullify those main threats that we spoke about, Mbappe and Messi, will obviously go a long way to winning that game for them. But you know, it's easier said than done. So many teams in this tournament have tried to stop Messi or having an impact on the game, and they haven't been able to. So for me, he's going to be the difference again. I think France have maybe more firepower. You know, obviously Mbappe, Giroud, Griezmann has been excellent in this tournament, and Dembele as well. So they probably have more firepower, but I think Messi, you know, he can create goals, he can score goals, he can win this off his own back. So I'm going Argentina and Messi to be the difference. What about you, Robbie?
It's a good pick, and I'll go different, of course, because I'm on the France bandwagon. But Messi is if he's up for it, France are in big trouble. And I think the difference when we compare the two superstars of this game is that Mbappe relies on service to some extent. We know he can do a bit on his own, but Griezmann is very important for him, whereas Messi, he does it all on his own. He creates.
He can do it all.
And he also scores the goals. So what a final we have in store. It will be well worth missing a few hours sleep to watch this World Cup classic.
The betting brand for soccer fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
Well, the day before the final, Croatia take on Morocco in the battle for third. There are two teams who came so close. So, jurors, are you a fan of this game, or is this just more pain for the poor players and teams that missed out on the final?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, to be honest, Robbie. I'm not a big fan of it. You know, obviously maybe for the fans.
I'm not surprised you said that, by the way.
You know, you're there to win the tournament, and if you're not there to win the tournament, then you know you can go home. But you know, they have this third and fourth playoff. For me, it's more of maybe a bit of a for the fans. You know, for them to get out there and see one more game, and you know, it's probably a bit of a money spinner as well for FIFA to get more bums on seats and an extra game. So look, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's obviously been there and part of the history for quite a while. What are your thoughts on having a third and fourth playoff?
I think it's the best game of the tournament. No. Look, it's one of those games that they have to play. It's one of those games, if I say to you who came third or fourth in Russia or all the World Cups before that, you probably don't remember. So. And
do you think with the teams, you know, in this third and fourth playoff, they drastically change lineups? Do they give a go to the players that maybe haven't got minutes in the World Cup to give them those moments?
Yeah, and I guess the other side to that is, or do you give the players that have done so well? I think it's a mixture. I think some of the players will have their eyes on their club because we know this has been a special World Cup. So in a week's time, they're back to their clubs and they're playing again. So, look, I think if you look at it and if you look at the lineups they've had, particularly Croatia, does Modric play this game? It's his final game in a World Cup. Let's hope he does. But having said that, you know, tactically, if you're the coach of these teams, what do you do? Do you go? Are we looking at the result here, or are we looking at, you know, taking the brakes off a little bit and you know, putting on some entertainment for the fans?
Yeah, I think a team like Morocco will probably want to win this and say that they've finished third in a World Cup. I think that's a really important thing. They've already overachieved massively and gone so far in a tournament that no one would have ever predicted they would get there. So maybe it means a little bit more for Morocco. They haven't been a team that has gone out and scored a ton of goals. They've been, you know, known as a really defensive team. So hopefully they can open up a little bit and go a little bit more aggressive in terms of trying to score. But, you know, I think that, you know, they've done so well, and for them to finish third would be an amazing achievement. And
definitely.
And I think on the other side, you know, Luka Modric, like you just mentioned before, it's his last game at a World Cup. How do you think he'll be remembered over the World Cup moments that he's been involved in?
Well, I think he'll be remembered fondly as one of the greats. Obviously for Croatia, their greatest ever player. We'll remember 2018 when they get got so close in the World Cup, going all the way to the final. Modric was key to that. Even in this run they had to the semi-final, Modric in a different register, we saw him, at times playing at centre half and clearing balls off the line. He's an
absolute genius.
Exactly.
He's one of, people have compared him almost to the Messi, and is he considered almost in that top 5 of best players ever?
Right.
So he's been instrumental in everything good that Croatia's done.
And his club career has been fantastic as well. Over 300 games for Real Madrid, 130 odd for Tottenham Hotspurs. But if we go back to Morocco, who's impressed you for them?
Yeah, I think, I don't think many people would have known any of the Moroccan players going into this tournament. I definitely didn't. Obviously, Hakimi at PSG is probably one that everyone would be familiar with. So he's been excellent. When you think of the Moroccan team, the defence is what has been instrumental. Sofiane Amrabat plays at Fiorentina. He's the holding midfielder. He was immense today against France. So they're two of the guys that really stood out. And
okay, so Morocco have made the semi-final, first African nation to do so, first team from the Arab world to do so. Where does this put them now? Does this mean we're going to expect Morocco in every tournament?
No, look, I don't know. They were a massive surprise packet. I don't think anyone would have thought that they would be anywhere near this stage of the tournament. Actually, Samuel Eto'o was maybe the only one who predicted them to go this far, he was kind of laughed at the beginning of the tournament.
Looks like a genius now.
And now he's a genius. So, look, hopefully they can kick on from this. Do I see them as being a powerhouse in the future? Probably not, but this has been an incredible tournament for them.
Okay, so who's going to win?
Look, I think Morocco, that's the feel-good factor for me. I'd like them to go and finish third. What about yourself?
Yeah, look, I think it'll be close, but I've got Croatia to win this. Send out Modric as a winner. Well, that's our take on the battle for third. They may not be playing for the top prize, but let's hope these teams stand and deliver.
The betting brand for soccer fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
Well, it's time to look back on the highlights of what has been an incredible World Cup. There's been so many brilliant performances, Robbie. Who has been your player of the tournament?
Well, I think two stand out, Mbappe and Messi, and I'm going for Messi. I think he's done a little bit what Diego Maradona did in 1986, is he dragged Argentina to the final. Of course, they won that, and I think Messi's done this as well. I think he's dragged this Argentina team on his own virtually to the final. For you, who is it? I know who you're going to say.
I totally agree. I think Messi has been the difference in every single game. He's now the leading goal scorer for Argentina in a World Cup. He's taken over Batistuta on 11 goals now. He's the most assists in the World Cup. He's equal goal scorer in the World Cup. He's 35 years old and he's still carrying his team. So I think, he definitely deserves player of the tournament.
100%. Now, going on to the games, what's your standout game?
Yeah, I've gone for Argentina and the Netherlands in the quarterfinal. I thought it was all over. Argentina were up 2-0, and then the Dutch came back unbelievably with that beautiful free kick at the end, a well-worked free kick to get themselves back to 2-2, and obviously going into penalties and extra time, and Argentina getting the win. And that was for me a real standout game. What about your pick?
Well, for me, I've got to go for England, France. Just the drama of everything that is always surrounded by England in football and their history of penalties. Harry Kane's penalty now goes into the history books with a long line of penalty misses for the English. But I thought the game was tense. I thought the English actually played quite well.
They did.
But for me, that's the game that stands out.
And there's been 163 goals, Robbie, throughout this tournament. Which goal stands out for you the most?
Well, obviously there's been some fantastic goals. Mbappe against Poland, his second was a fantastic game. But the game that I'm going to pick is when Croatia beat Brazil. Brazil's goal against Croatia in that quarterfinal, Neymar. I thought just the way he started it, and it was worked one-touch football, and the finish was superb. What about yours?
I thought Richarlison's versus Serbia, the acrobatic overhead kick. I thought that was sensational, and that was at the moment where I thought Brazil were going to go on and win the tournament. They were so deadly in that tournament, in that game, I should say. And yeah, Richarlison's goal was just sensational.
Okay, so Golden Boot, there's a few in contention. Messi and Mbappe, of course, on top. You've got Alvarez and Giroud on 4, just one behind. Who takes home the Golden Boot?
Yeah, I think Messi. I'm tipping Argentina to win it, and I think if they win it, he's going to be the difference. So I'm going to go Messi for Golden Boot of the tournament as well. What about you?
Well, I'm tipping France to win it, so I'm going to go with Mbappe to finish with the Golden Boot.
And then when we think about the campaign, the Australian campaign, obviously such a incredible campaign that they did have. What was your standout for the Aussies?
Well, for me, it's the Lecky goal. And to be fair, I could have picked out Mitch Duke's goal as well. I just think the way we went through, when we started, we weren't expected to get a point, let alone to win 2 games. So the highlight for me is against Denmark, a top 10 ranked team in the world, and we knock them off. First time we've ever done it, first time we've ever won 2 games at a World Cup. So that is an everlasting memory. And I think, for me, that's my point. What will stand out for you when you think of Australia at this World Cup?
I think everyone around the country would agree with you, Robbie. I think that moment, that Denmark game, Lecky's goal. But I'm a defender, and one moment that will stand out for me is Suter's lunging tackle right at the end of the game against Denmark. That was an incredible tackle. And
that's when Rolls fell over.
Where Rolls fell over in the middle of the field. He gave the ball away. They were on the counter-attack, and it was such a big moment. And Suter just comes across and cleans it up. So that's my defensive mindset kicking in there.
Well, that's what defenders do. They always go for the defensive moment. Now, if we talk about Australian memories of what they did, what about the biggest disappointments in this World Cup? What are they for you?
Yeah, there were a couple for me. I picked Germany to actually be a finalist when we first started this show, and they didn't even...
I was going to remind you of that.
They didn't even get out of the group stage. So, they were extremely disappointing. And one team that you tipped as a dark horse, and you'll probably agree with me here, Belgium, with so many big players, like you mentioned, De Bruyne and Lukaku, and for them to also not progress was really disappointing. Do you have a different opinion on anyone that was kind of disappointing?
Yeah, look, I think if I think of the tournament, and given that we knew it was going to be the last for lots of players, and we've talked about Modric, but I think the 2 figures that stood out were Ronaldo last World Cup and Messi. Messi, what about the legacy he's going to leave, whatever happens? But for me, Ronaldo was the disappointment of the World Cup. And this is not a cheap shot at him. It's the whole thing. It's not the fact that, the way he played or what he didn't do. It's just the feeling around it coming into it, the end of Manchester United. Then he gets dropped, and Santos, a bit of a feud there with the Portuguese coach. So it all ended in tears.
It definitely wouldn't have been the way that he would have wanted this World Cup.
And it's not the way we all wanted it either.
Yeah. Okay, and the reason we're all here, reason we are here, who is winning this final, Robbie?
Well, for me, this is where we're going to differ, and I think we're both in the game, mate. I've got France on the back of, not on their semi-final form, but the fact that they didn't play well, but they won, and they just know how to win. And, mate, I know who you're going to pick, and that's what makes this show so watchable.
I picked them from the beginning, the first episode. Go back and watch that first episode, Robbie. I was Argentina all the way, and I thought Messi would be the difference.
I was France all the way. Oh, no, sorry, I had England, didn't I?
You had England. You thought football was coming home. But Argentina with Messi being
Now we're going to have to wait for a while for football to come home. Well, that's it. It's the final whistle for Fox Sports Lab FIFA World Cup. Thank you so much, Andrew Juras, for being here. And thanks to all of you. I hope you've enjoyed the last 4 weeks. I trust you've enjoyed it just as much as we have. Let's hope Argentina and France give us a fitting finale on Monday morning.
The betting brand for soccer fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.